Hi Inovecians, it's Julia here with another skills video for the Inovec sweater. We talked a little bit about this in class last time, but I wanted to make sure that we went over the short rows, the wrap and twist short rows. Short rows, as I said in class, are a way to add stitches to just a little bit of your sweater. So essentially what we're doing is we're going from working in the round to creating short rows that go back and forth and add length so that we can make the back of the neck higher than the front. And we're also going to do that to make the back of the sweater lower at the bottom to make what's called a shirt tail hem. So here's the theory. We are going to start at our beginning of row marker, and we're going to knit a certain number of stitches. Then we're going to do our wrap and twist. And what that does is it creates the beginning of a short row. So then when we turn our work, our yarn will be on the correct side and we can just start purling backwards. Or back the other way rather. There's no fancy purling backwards. So I've got my pink monstrosity that I showed you some skills on. Notice we have some, if you can look closely, we have some of those knit one below increases. It's gotten a little wider. And what I've done here is I've put this marker where the beginning of the row marker would be in your regular knitting. So as you're going around and measuring your circular knitting, this marker counts as the beginning of the row. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to knit my merry way along here. Do, 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 do. I hope you're all having a good day. I have done a lot of things in advance of a trip that I'm going on. And I got a new keyboard, all kinds of great stuff. And I love the way my camera looks when the light is dark in here and I just have a lamp. But enough about me. I'm just knitting, 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 and you will too. So no part of the short row has been created yet. As I said before, there are different kinds of short rows. This one's called the wrap and twist, also known as wrap and turn, abbreviated as W and T. And as we were saying, there's things like German short rows, Japanese short rows. Don't go to any other countries right now. Just stay here with me and do the wrap and twist. Okay. Now, your pattern says to go 25 stitches and then do your wrap and twist. So here's the beginning of the row marker, and that's what row 1 of the what's it called? The short rows for back neck section says. I don't have 25 stitches worth of yarn on this little pink monstrosity, so I'm just going to go 10. But remember, you're going to go 25. So I'm going to do 10 before I do my wrap and twist, or my wrap and turn. So. Have I lost count? Let's see. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. So now I am ready to do my wrap and turn. And our pattern is very specific, very helpful and friendly about where the yarn should be at all times. So it says, keeping the yarn in back because we're on the right side. RS means we're on the right side. When we're knitting in the round, everything is the right side. It's lovely. But creating a short row means that we're no longer knitting in the round and we're just going back and forth on a little section. So we have a right side and a wrong side. So my yarn is in the back and I'm going to slip this stitch purlwise, okay? And then I am going to bring that yarn forward as the pattern suggests. And then I'm going to bring this stitch that I moved, I'm going to bring it back to its original position. Okay, so that's the wrap part. And then I'm going to turn my work over. And now, notice the yarn is on my right needle, just like I always want it to be for knitting and purling. So I'm ready to purl. So I've created essentially a new little portion where I can go back and forth and then resume knitting in the round later. So that would have been row 1, but of course you went 25 and I only went 10. So now row 2 says purl to the beginning of row marker. Now, this is slightly deceptive because beginning of row referred to the beginning of the row when you were working with circular knitting. Now, what the beginning of row marker represents is it represents the center back of the sweater. So if we're going to increase the length of the whole center back, we need to not only go to that center back, but we need to go further and then come back with our short row. So I'm going to knit to that marker, purl, because now I am on the wrong side. And the wrong side never felt so right. Haha, I'm such a rebel. La la la. Okay, so I've reached the center, my beginning of row marker. That's the center back neck. So I'm just gonna keep moving forward with it, and I have to be symmetric. So I'm gonna go 10 purls and then do my wrap and twist. Wrap and turn? Ugh, wrap and twist. I think it's wrap and turn on this pattern, but you know, either way, whatever. Oh, I lost track. 3, 6, 9, 10. Look at me. Okay. And then I've reached the 10th purl. So now I'm going to do my wrap and turn. So I'm keeping the yarn in front because we're on the wrong side. Purling is the wrong side. I'm going to slip the next stitch purlwise. Now I'm going to send my yarn to the back. And then slip that stitch back. So notice that yarn is stuck around that stitch that I just slipped back and forth. And now I'm going to turn over. And I'm going to move this yarn over to the back. And I'm going to start knitting again. So that was row 2 of your short rows. Now we're going to go to row 3. We're on the right side again, so we're going to be knitting. And we're going to make this row longer so that we create a nice gradual bump. So we are just making some of it rise further, some of the back neck rise further, and some of it rise a little bit less. And that's what naturally happens with our shoulders anyway. So I'm going to just show you 2 more rows because there's only one more subtlety that we have to do, and it's what happens when we get to our wrapped stitch that we did before. How do we move forward from that? Okay, so I'm going to knit to the beginning of row marker. Again, it's deceptive. I'm going to call that the center back marker. La la la. I'm slouching. Do, 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 do. Okay, so I've reached at the center back. So anything I do has to be symmetric. So that's why I'm going to go over here. And my next short row is going to be longer. So I'm going to go 15 stitches because I went 10 before. You're going to go 30 because you did 25 before. You don't always have to go in tens, but, or fives. Your pattern will tell you. Okay, now I will know when I've reached my wrap because the stitches will be naturally a little bit separated, and you'll be able to physically see that something's wrapped around that stitch. That's known as the wrap. So the instructions say knit one with the wrap. This isn't 100% necessary. It doesn't do anything for the structure of the sweater. What knitting one with the wrap does is hiding the wrap. So it kind of looks nice. All right, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna find this wrap and you're gonna knit into it. You're gonna pick it up with your needle. Yep. And you're gonna knit the wrap and the stitch together. There you go. So it's brought together. I'm just going back and forth with it. I'm just seeing if there's no reason to do that. I just felt like doing it, seeing if I could show you a different way. Another way that you could pick up the wrap is you could lift the wrap onto the left-hand needle and then knit them together. So you can do that. But either way, the goal is to hide the wrap. So notice, I can barely see where anything was different at all. So now I'm going to knit 5 more, because that's what your pattern says to do too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, great. So now I'm gonna wrap and turn again. Keep the yarn in back, slip it, bring the yarn forward, slip it back. That is the wrap complete. That's a wrap. And then turn the work. Great, I've done row 3. Now I'm going to do row 4 so I can show you how to pick up the wrap with a purl row. So now I'm just going to take my hands away from here and I am just going to purl as long as I need. I'm on the wrong side. You know, I might like to be the Bob Ross of knitting. That would be fun. I could give you affirming messages like, you can do it. You hear me, Amy? You can do it. Okay, now I'm at the center back. This was the beginning of row marker, whatever. I'm going to purl until I get to my wrap. And again, you're going to be able to see where that wrap is. So some people were thinking, oh, maybe I need to do a beginning of row marker for that, but it actually might make you feel a little bit lost. Oh, there it is. You can see that separation and you can see that wrap. So I need to purl one with the wrap, but the whole purpose of picking up the wrap is so that it looks nice from the outside. The right side, if you will, the knit side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach here into the knit side, pick that up, and purl those two together. Look, boom! Yeah. And then I pull it off. Right? So you reach sort of into the front to pick up the wrap so that you make sure that you've done it nicely from the knit side. And now let me just show you. Hey, the knit side, what? You can't even tell there was a wrap there at all. But if you picked it up from the purl side and you just purled with it, you might still have a bump on the outside. So you have to pay attention to that. And see, it looks a little funky on this side. No worries, we don't care. And then you purl 5 more because you extended it on the knit side as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. That is row number 4. Oh, shoot. I forgot. Guess what I have to do? Oop, I have to wrap and twist. So I've brought my yarn forward. I've slipped. I send it back. I slip again. And I turn my work. Voila, I'm ready to knit. Okay, now it just says row 5. It says knit to marker, so that I'm going to achieve neutral status. And I will be at the center back of my sweater again. La, 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 la. La, 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 la. Okay, so I have completed row 5 of the pattern. Now, of course, again, I want to point out, I didn't have as much sweater as you have, so I did a shorter number of stitches. You make sure you read the correct number of stitches. What the pattern says now is it says resume working in the round. So that means, it just means the short rows are done and you go straight to the yoke section. The first row of the yoke section says knit all stitches, don't forget to pick up the wraps. So I'm just gonna go to the first wrap. I'm gonna remind you how to pick it up. My knitting ends, it's not circular. So I won't be able to show you going all the way around and picking up the wraps. This is just me knitting up to some wraps. Where are they? Ah, yes, look. Do you see? Do you see the gap here? That formed naturally from my wrap. Okay. Now, last time I kind of did a thing where I went back and forth and I was looking to see if I liked the way it looked. But I'm going to show this to you again. This is picking up the wrap. So that little guy is the wrap. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the wrap on the needle. I like that. So I'll show you again what I did. Okay. You can pick it up from front to back or back to front. I'm going to go back. Yeah. Nah, I'm going to go front to back. And I'm going to put it on the needle. And then I'm going to knit those two together. Ta-da. And if you want to play around with it a little bit, if you want to go back and forth and see, oh, is that twisted? Should I try again? Feel free to do that. And what you would do is you would keep going around the entire round. I'm going to run out of room. So I'm going to finish my row and show you what you would do. Okay. So I've reached the end of my round, but you wouldn't. What would happen with you is you'd keep going around your sweater. eventually you will circumnavigate your sweater and you will reach this wrap here that you did on the purl side. And then you should pick it up. So that's what it means by pick up all wraps. All really just means the two that you were left with. So that's the other one, once you've come back around to the other side of your sweater. And then we say goodbye to the short rows for a long time. You don't need to worry about any more wraps. You just continue with the yoke. One thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to link you a tutorial that gives you really big pictures of what this looks like in case this seemed confusing, because I couldn't do lots of little short rows on this. Okay, so here's what I'd love for the next class. I'm going to give you some homework, and if you're having any trouble with wrap and twist, feel free to text me, email me, whatever. We could even hop on a call or something. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this. I know it's a little bit long. Remember, you can speed up, slow down. You can cheat on me with anyone you want. But I hope you have some happy knitting.